Hello and welcome to podcast.
Welcome to podcast. This is new and exciting.
We haven't quite decided on a name yet, but we hope you'll enjoy this. So the subject of this right now is the new season of Young Justice that has just premiered on the DC Universe streaming service, and now this show is quite a thing.
It's unloading a whole lot of things right off the bat.
Yeah, but it's always been a show that was very real. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's obviously a superhero show for children, young adults, but they never really pulled their punches. They were always not afraid of making grown up storylines and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
They had a lot of these themes of kids growing up and filling shoes that were possibly too big to fill. Like,
a lot of them finding their place in the world.
yeah, exactly. That's what it was always about. And one of the things was that the showrunners are fiercely smart. They are very, very clever, these people. And these Greg Weisman is the man behind this, and he is a notorious planner. Like, he plans in minute details years and years and years in advance. He has his own little timelines on notice boards back at home, and even when a show
That's dedication.
even when a show like this that was canceled back in 2013.
Is it really that long ago?
Yeah, it's that long ago. So season 2 of Young Justice ended back in 2013, I do believe, on a massive cliffhanger.
It was huge.
A very climactic finale and a huge cliffhanger. And it was encompassing the whole of the first 2 seasons, basically.
Yeah.
On a massive open ending. So, and it was always well rated, well received, and I guess toy sales just weren't very good because Cartoon Network ran the show back then, and they decided to make crappy toys. And then they were like, oh, well, I guess the show doesn't sell any toys, so it's not a very good show then.
Oh well. Yeah, no, that was really a shame. It was such a good show.
Yeah, but in the years since then, Greg Weisman has still refused to answer questions about Young Justice and about a lot of the unanswered questions, because on the off chance that it would ever come back, because from the moment that the show was canceled, there's been fan campaigns and petitions out to revive the show.
Yeah.
There's been Netflix campaigns. There's been campaigns for Warner Brothers. Just it's a very well loved show that's only back through the power of its fans, and that's where we are now. 6 years later.
It is finally alive again.
It is
and
finally.
This has been long awaited.
It really has been. So we had a lot of questions because let's get into where we left off. So most of season 2 was about this giant undercover scheme that Nightwing and Aqualad had set up.
Yes.
And it involved Aqualad going undercover with Black Manta's organization, and then by extension, the Light, which is this evil conglomerate of
consisting of pretty much all the major
DC villains.
Yeah.
From Lex Luthor to Ra's al Ghul to
Vandal Savage.
Fuck, I totally forgot.
I mean, the cliffhanger even ended with him.
Big players. Yeah, the cliffhanger was that Vandal Savage was shaking Darkseid's hand. So you don't get much bigger. So in a show that's about sidekicks mostly, that's a pretty big step up. But so anyway,
it's huge.
So Aqualad and Nightwing had orchestrated this outside the knowledge of basically everybody. Very, very few people knew about this. Not even the League knew about this. They were under the impression that Aqualad had switched sides. Even Aquaman himself.
Yeah. They took it.
Superboy, McGann.
Very harsh.
Only Dick, Artemis, and Wally knew. Outside of and Aqualad, obviously, but like those were the only people who were in on this. So there was a major breach of trust
Yeah, when everything was revealed.
When everything was revealed, it was a major breach of trust, and Dick lost a ton of credibility. So basically, one of the things that was a theme from the very first season was that Dick wasn't ready to lead the team, and so Aqualad became the leader of the team.
That's how it was.
And then he was going to pass it on to Dick when it was time, because everybody knew that Dick was going to be the perfect leader.
Yeah, he was definitely being shaped up for that.
Yeah, obviously because he's the bad boy.
The bad boy.
Yeah, but and so Dick did lead the team, but also breached the trust. So what happened afterwards was that Calder took back control of the team with help from Barbara, I suppose. Whereas Dick then stepped down. He didn't stop being Nightwing or being a hero. He just went off and did his own thing. And then in the time that's passed now, there's been 2 years since the ending of season 2. So we are 7 team years from the very beginning of the show. So it's been 7 years. And now Aqualad has stepped up and become Aquaman. And not only is he Aquaman, he's also the leader of the Justice League.
Yeah, I'm very curious to hear more about that part, because that has not yet been revealed, at least in the first 3 episodes.
No, but so the thing about the League's leadership in Young Justice, if you remember, it's on it switches. It's a democratically selected leader that switches every now and then. So, for instance, in the first season, Batman was the leader of the Justice League.
I don't recall it being Batman, but it could be.
It's
been a very long time since I've watched the first 2 seasons of Young Justice, so everything's a little fuzzy.
It could have been Batman. I'm not quite sure, but it was definitely, the thing was, it changed. So in the beginning of season, in the whole of season 2 was Captain Atom.
Yeah,
and then he turned over League leadership to, I do believe it was Black Canary at the end, actually. But
yeah, I seem to recall something about that. Yeah.
That's how it goes. So it's Aquaman's turn now, because the thing about Aqualad was always where he was headed. He was always supposed to be the next Aquaman, because Aquaman was kind of torn between being a king to his people and being a superhero on the surface. So.
No, you were right. I just
look that up.
Yeah, Batman, Captain Atom, Black Canary.
Look at that memory.
Hot damn.
No, so it has finally happened. Aquaman has stepped down as Aquaman, and now he's just King Orin. And Calder is Aquaman. So that's pretty dope.
That is huge.
That is actually huge. And McGann has stepped up as leader of the team now, and she is white.
Yeah.
Instead of posing as green now, which is
white and hairless.
It is kind of a big thing, but that's still not her true appearance, though. So she's still wearing.
That's true.
She's still wearing a mask. Like, this is.
But at least it's a glimpse into.
Yeah, she's.
It's more of her.
She's progressing.
Yeah.
So she's the leader of the team, and Barbara is nowhere to be found except in Nightwing's ear as Oracle. So just like we had between season 1 and 2, the events of Under the Hood, with Jason dying.
Yeah.
Based on that's Death in the Family.
Well, yeah.
That's not Under the Hood. But so we had the events of Death in the Family happening off screen. So we knew that there had been a Robin after Dick, and that he had died, and now we had Tim. But we never knew anything more than there was a memorial of Jason in the cave. But it's kind of the same thing now. So Barbara is Oracle now, and to me that means that the events of the Killing Joke have happened off screen.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I really can't see anything else in that regard. So one thing that I noticed that was also in that sphere of the world that was quite new and different is, was it Black Lightning who mentioned Batman Incorporated?
Yes, it was.
Yes. So apparently Batman has branched out. So Batman has always received heavy criticism in this world for even having a Robin because he trains them from very young.
Oh yeah.
Like Dick was 9 when he started, and that's no age to be a vigilante, Batman.
What? No, but yeah, this is pretty much the beginning of
Because you also see
Young Justice season 3.
This is all in the first episode. This is all in the first moments of the first episode. So Batman has apparently established Batman Incorporated, which we also see with we have Spoiler is in now. Spoilers is on the team now, and she's Batman affiliated villain, but not a bat theme, not villain hero, but not a bat themed hero. So so that's interesting. It's interesting to see if we're gonna see another Batgirl, or if Jason's gonna come back, for instance, or if Damian is gonna be out there or something. That's all very interesting. But now we have the concept Batman Incorporated to play with.
I'm very curious to see where that's gonna go.
That leads us. That actually does kind of lead us into this next sort of thing, where one of the first setups that we have in this season is the defection.
Yes.
From the Justice League of several of the prominent members,
even founders,
including Batman. So members that we had that we didn't even know were part of the Justice League that were introduced in this scene are also defecting now. But we'll come back to that in a second, because there's something that starts this whole thing off.
Yes.
So in the very tail end of season 1, when, if you remember, when Vandal Savage takes control of the founding members of the Justice League, mental control of them, they is revealed in season 2 that they were sent on a rampage across the galaxy to instill fear and to make the name Earth known across the cosmos.
Specifically Earth and the Justice League.
Specifically Earth and the Justice League, and to let the galaxy know that Earth has metahumans.
Yeah. Painting Earth is a huge target for the entirety of space. It's
more of a deterrent, in a sense, is what I gathered from season 2 anyway. It seemed like it was like Earth is not to be fucked with. We don't fuck with us. We have big guns, and that seemed to have worked for for Vandal, because one of the opening scenes of this show is basically all-out warfare on Rann between Apocalyptian forces and Rannian forces and the Justice League.
Yep. That's one hell of an opening, by the way.
That is one hell of an opening. It's literally just parademons on Rann with Superman and Wonder Woman and Ice. Good old Ice from the Justice League International fame. I fucking love Ice. She's cool.
But yeah, parademons and the and
a selection of metahumans from Earth.
Yeah.
And Black Lightning is there, and he has a kerfuffle with a metahuman he believes he kills this metahuman, even though it was in fact just a weak heart that gave out. But so Black Lightning saps this metahuman, and the metahuman dies, and under analysis, it is revealed that this metahuman is in fact a 14-year-old girl from Earth.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this about Black Lightning. Black Lightning is a father. He's a father of 2 teenage girls.
So one can imagine.
He did not take this lightly.
No. Not at all.
No, this really screwed with him. And
well, both him and his powers.
I feel like we're not really emphasizing this enough. A 14-year-old girl died in the opening of season 3 of Young Justice.
Yeah, they're not holding anything back here.
No, they're really not. So this whole thing then starts off. So Black Lightning is the first to to want to resign from the Justice League on account of this whole thing. So on Earth, the Justice League's efforts are being hampered by the UN, headed by Secretary General Lex Luthor. So you can imagine.
Who decided to give him a lot of power?
Do you know how much power he had to give up to become Secretary General? That's a beautiful line from Justice League Unlimited, I do believe, where he just screams, "Do you know how much power I had to give up to become president of the United States?" It's just, yeah, all right, Lex, all right, man.
You poor man.
So Lex
How you must suffer.
Lex Luthor obviously is very influential, anyways. So a lot of legislation has been introduced that really hampers the Justice League's efforts
At every turn.
at every turn. Not just fighting villains, but which borders they can cross and whose authority they work under. So basically, if you're thinking the Sokovia Accords from the Civil War movie, Marvel's Civil War movie, because that thing was about governmental oversight. And basically making the Avengers a U.S. government or a UN strike force.
And in this case, this has been implemented now.
This has been implemented, and it's not so much taking control of the Justice League in an active sense, it's more of a holding them back. So if you remember, sometimes I get things a little cross-wired here, but I do believe that they also, in season 2 with the Reach thing, the Reach.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thank you, G. Gordon. There was it became publicly known that the Justice League has a space station.
Oh yeah.
They have
the Watchtower.
They have an orbital space station, the Watchtower, with a comprehensive teleportation network throughout the world.
Yeah.
And basically the question is, who watches the Watchmen?
Exactly.
That is the whole thing here. So they have an orbital station, and in the Justice League cartoon, they even had a beam cannon weapon.
Did they?
Yeah, they had an orbital strike. Yeah, exactly. And they were forced to employ this at one point where they were just overwhelmed by something, and that of course led to a huge backlash from the general populace. And like, it didn't take a lot of prodding from anti-Justice League people, and you can see why. A league of superpowered beings with, I mean, the answer is no one. So
exactly.
So you can see why they would also have to concede this to. I mean, Young Justice isn't quite as bleak of a world that I don't know even how to say this, but the Young Justice world was sort of wonderfully romantic in the beginning. It was just this. Superheroes are established, they have their sidekicks, and nobody asks any questions.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, everything was set up. We didn't need origin stories for Speedy and Robin and Kid Flash.
Yeah, no, it was mostly just kids wanting to grow.
They were there, and we learned about them from who they were as people, and not so much the origins of their characters and stuff. And of course, we did learn some backstory for Robin, what with Haley's circus and everything, and we did learn about how Kid Flash became Kid Flash, but it isn't more important than just telling, because these are stories that we know.
Exactly. Yeah.
These are stories that you can go out and read. Basically, they're not,
and have been told a million times.
They're not necessarily canon to the Young Justice universe. That's kind of like what with the Death in the Family. It's like the events of that story have happened, but the details are unknown to us. But we know what have happened. We can infer from just from seeing Dick as Nightwing in season 2 and Tim being Robin and a memorial of Jason, we can infer that he was probably brutally beaten to death with a crowbar by the Joker. Probably, which is also why I can say that Barbara was probably shot in the spine by the Joker.
It's very likely.
It's very likely. Wearing a Hawaiian shirt. The Joker was, not her. No, so these are stories that we know that don't necessarily need to be told. And I forgot. The thing is that Justice League was much in the same way, except that those stories had been told. So Superman had lost a lot of trust and credibility by being mind controlled by Darkseid, for instance, in his own animated series. Stuff like that, right? But we don't have that in Young Justice. We only have these things that are very similar, so that we can infer things. And so this whole existence of the Watchtower made a lot of people very uneasy about the Justice League. So we can infer that they must have had to make concessions.
Yes.
They were always very down to earth. is a weird no, but they were always very open towards the media. For instance, they had media correspondence. They have
press conferences.
The Hall of Justice is a tourist attraction, basically. But they still misled people by telling them that the Hall of Justice was the headquarters of the Justice League, when in fact they had an orbital satellite. So now, oh, you want to talk to?
You can keep going. I'll.
Oh man, no. So
I'll add in.
The point to all of this is that the UN, especially based on this whole thing with the Reach and the Reach having and the Kroatians having infiltrated several parts of human society, is like, we need to come together on this. Which is also why one thing that was very cool about the UN scene is that they now have representatives from Atlantis and Themyscira.
That's true, yeah.
That was really, really cool. That's very nice to see.
That's pretty big.
It was pretty cool progression there. So this whole thing with Black Lightning sparked a bit of a crisis internally in the Justice League. And it led to a lot of people resigning. Black Lightning resigned because...
Yeah, he was just done after that.
He was just done. He was... Yeah. He had a bit of a mental break. And his power stopped working.
Yeah.
As a result of this. So, I mean... Yeah. So he was really bummed out, depressed, and out. But
other than that, I mean, there was Batman
and Green Arrow, which both of them are famously anti-government, especially Green Arrow. So being hampered by regulations and being told where you can go and what you can do, that shit don't fly.
No, not at all.
But the thing was, after Batman floats this idea that the Justice League does not serve its purpose anymore, which is a very controversial opinion, and especially Wonder Woman was not a fan of this. I noticed that Superman was noticeably absent from that meeting.
Yeah, he was. That was
because
curious.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's maybe the one person who could have said, "Bruce, cut your shit."
Probably.
But
got any ideas on where he might be?
He's on Ran. Superman.
Oh yeah, he was.
Superman was on Ran with Wonder Woman. The only question is just why he wasn't there in hologram form along with all the others.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Okay, so in this scene, we're introduced to a bunch of new heroes, including Batwoman, Katana, Hardware, and is there anybody else?
I don't actually recall who Hardware is, so I'll just let you take the reins on that one.
Plastic Man was there, but we've seen him before. Steel was also there, but I mean, the League's roster is always expanding and stuff. Icon was noticeably missing as well. Whatever. Basically, so Batman says, "I'm out. Peace out. I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. I don't want to deal with you nerds anymore."
We're going to do our own shit.
Immediately, Batwoman, Katana, Hardware, and Plastic Man just they're out immediately as well. And obviously, it's like, you guys planned this.
Yeah.
So this roster of people, especially Katana and especially Katana, are notable members of a superhero team known as the Outsiders in the comics. A team that has previously been led by Batman and Nightwing, which almost all of its incarnations include definitely Katana and Metamorpho and a bunch of other people. And was born out of these sort of circumstances where especially Bruce was disillusioned with the League. So, and the subtitle for this season is called Young Justice Outsiders. So, it's not so fucking weird.
Breathe! It's also worth mentioning that the whole breakup here is it's going to cause, well, some conflict.
Yeah.
Like Green Arrow, Black Canary.
Yeah, definitely. And Aquaman, sorry.
Man.
Aquaman had to publicly disown the members that left, and unfortunately, Black Lightning kind of got caught up in that.
Unfortunately, yes.
His resignation was not sympathetic to Bruce, and he specifically said that he did not want anything to do with Batman Incorporated.
Yeah, no.
So this whole thing sort of set up a whole thing, and it kind of mirrors what's going on with the team as well, with Nightwing being on his own and recruiting. Like Nightwing went on a co-op mission with no super suits, and he kind of went around and recruited people for this as well, including Artemis and Superboy and Jeff,
and even Black Lightning, yeah.
Even Black Lightning himself. So there's kind of these two outsiders teams right now. I don't know if you can even say that, but it's interesting at the very least that Dick is mirroring Batman in every way, even though he
doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to, but that's just what it is. So that leads us into the main storyline of this.
Just as a side note, though, I'm really curious to see if the whole Batman Incorporated thing is going to be a major plot later down the line.
If it was just a throwaway line, or
if it's going to be its own, spin-off.
Oh, I don't think.
I mean, probably not, but it's an opportunity.
It would be really cool with a Batman Inc. spin-off. That's actually a really good thought. But the thing is that they have been reluctant to renew Young Justice.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got in the back of my head. But at the very least, that's an opportunity there.
The thing is just that they're being annoyingly obstinate about Young Justice in this regard, because Young Justice has for years been one of the most watched shows on Netflix.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. People aren't playing, and that of course has led to
Well, I mean, it's good, so I mean, I'm not surprised, of course, but
and
there's a lot of series on Netflix,
and it is already the most watched show on DC Universe.
Damn.
Yeah. So, and I mean, Titans, the live action Titans show, was when it came out, there was just bunch of negative press about it because fuck Batman. And
wait, what, really?
That was a line that Dick says in the trailer. Fuck Batman. And
oh, that's great.
There were a ton of issues with it. There was a lot of casting controversy and just everything.
Isn't there always?
Always, but basically 3 episodes of Titans came out, and then they ordered 2 more seasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically that, right? So the thing is, Young Justice comes out to universal acclaim, very much awaited, the most watched show of a DC property in years, and it's happened under constant protest from the studio.
Yeah.
And very little press, and here we are again. They just don't want to do it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It's a great fucking show.
Is it somehow not profitable?
I mean, it's only not profitable because they won't market it.
Yeah.
I mean, just see how many people. I mean, it's exclusively on the DC Universe streaming service, and it has actually made people sign up for that piece of shit, including me. And I'm outside the US. I have to bullshit my way in there.
This is how bad you want it.
This is how I wanted to actually pay for it. And I don't know. Okay, so this leads us into the main storyline of these 3 first episodes, which is very much picking up on a lot of stuff that happened in season 2. So in season 2, it was revealed the not the existence, but the the knowledge of metahumans became more widely
Yeah.
spread because the Reach abducted children and molded them.
They,
They awakened the metagenes in a lot of kids, and basically this technology has now become more widely known by the light, I suppose.
probably.
It looks like it's the light that's at the root of this meta trafficking thing, especially because one, they're shipping them off to Apocalypse, and two, it's being done out of Markovia under the command of Count Vertigo,
Yep.
who is a member of the Light. And so it's so it's taking place around Markovia. This whole plot line. It's taking around their succession drama with the throne of Markovia. Markovia is a neighboring country to Vladova, where Count Vertigo is from. We've had succession drama with him as well.
Yeah, like previous seasons.
Previously, and there's also a lot of there's everything about Bialia, Queen Bee's country, and Karak as well. Just all these places are coming up again, and there's just these crises happening on top of each other. There's metahumans, there's metahuman traffickers, there's metahuman refugees, there's refugee crises. It's just it's going really hard.
Yeah, but we're focusing a lot here on Markovia.
Yes.
And we're very quickly introduced to the two princes.
Yes. To the royal family of Markovia, who has the princess was abducted 2 years ago. And if you know anything about comics and young superheroes, you know her as Tara Markov, also known as the superhero Tara, who was for a long time a sleeper agent in the Teen Titans on command of Deathstroke. So that was an ongoing thing, and she is of course an Earth controller. She's geokinetic, I suppose.
That just runs in the family, apparently.
It runs in the family because they all have Earth powers. So that's a whole thing. So we follow Brion Markov on his quest to become a metahuman to protect his country from his evil uncle.
The prince who was born 16 seconds too late.
16 seconds too late.
And there's a brilliant interview during the first parts.
Yeah, just. Do you want a salt shaker so you can dab that in my wound while you stab me? It's just,
how does it feel to be born 16 seconds too late, Prince Brion?
It feels great.
Take my dagger.
Feels great. Thank you.
Just fucking stab me then.
Yeah. So we followed Dick and Artemis and Superboy and Jeff. Black Lightning.
And
Jeff. As they journey into Markovia to stop a large trafficking ring in one night, but of course doesn't go that easy.
Never does.
Never does. And but while they're doing this, Prince Brion undergoes metahuman treatment, and they meet a metahuman that's strikingly similar to the one that Black Lightning killed in the opening. And
which is then revealed to be her brother.
Her brother, yeah. But so the thing is that there's a lot of these children hanging around, and there's a lot of these children being abducted, and it takes place in the morgue of a children's hospital. It's so bleak. It's so fucking bleak. There's dead children everywhere. It's really hard to accurately explain how bleak this thing starts out.
There's dead children everywhere. There's dying children. There's
fucking Halo. So this unassuming Karaki. I suppose she's Karaki. She's wearing a hijab and everything.
Yeah.
Or is it a niqab? I don't know what they call it.
You know, that was Karaki.
She's wearing a headscarf, and so it seems like there's something going on with her, because she was the one who let in the assassin that killed the king and the queen, starting off the whole succession drama.
Yeah.
She did seem kind of unwitting about the whole thing, though. But anyways, they murder her and throw her in a ditch and then attempt to bury her.
Yeah, she led in the assassins and then they killed her.
Then they kill her. Then she comes back to life and all they're saying is shovel faster. They just toss,
Just lying down there
Just-
in the grave as they're shoveling and she's come back up. Like,
toss dirt into her face.
what's happening? Just shovel faster.
Just kick her in the face when she's trying to climb out of the grave. And Artemis,
Poor girl.
poor girl. Artemis then rescues her, and it's like, but the trouble doesn't stop there, man. After the whole thing blows up and the covert mission becomes a very overt mission, and they're feeling the Aster.
Oh, yeah, they really are.
And yeah, one of the things is you can never have a pure victory in Young Justice. It always has to be a Pyrrhic victory, in that something terrible goes wrong. And one of the things here is that Dick forgoes saving a bunch of the children in the pods.
Yeah.
Because he assumed
His reasoning was solid enough.
his reasoning was solid enough. He assumes that they're going to be shipped out on a rail system.
Since there's
rail-
tracks.
There's
rail
tracks. There's tracks and
And they're loaded on a cart.
yeah, exactly. But of course, Count Vertigo has a father box and boom tubes the children away. And Black Lightning is not having that shit. We lost 8 children. It's just too bad. But they saved Halo and they saved Brion, who are now both metahumans, obviously. They have this whole big scuffle on a field with this metahuman Plasmus, this boy
Yeah, the
Otto,
brother to the
brother
to the one that Black Lightning killed.
Yeah, so Plasmus picks up fucking Halo by the face,
Oh.
and Plasmus is basically a lava creature. Plasmus is basically a lava creature.
You can imagine where this is going.
He's been grabbing Superboy a lot, and Superboy has been screaming in pain, and his clothes burning off of him. He's been fine, but he's been in continual pain after being grabbed by Plasmus. So you can tell that shit is for real.
Unlike previous installments,
And
season 3 is very graphic.
oh yeah, I mean the whole the murder scene of the royal family was just blood on the walls and bloody hands and everything.
Yeah.
And
So you can imagine where this is going with Plasmus.
so Plasmus grabs Halo by the face, and she screams in terrible agony as he pushes her down into the ground and burns
and you
off
can see her
hands, and as she's scrambling on his arm to get him to release his
they
grip.
just slightly go gray.
They just slightly go gray, and
and then she goes limp.
she just goes, and Black Lightning snaps. But like her whole face is burned off, and they close up on it. Artemis and
Yeah, it's straight up just half the part of the face is skull.
it's just a charred skull, and Black Lightning snaps, and his powers come back, and he zaps the creature, and he zaps the control disc. That everything is terrible. And then Halo, thank fuck, heals herself away from being dead, from having a face burned off.
God.
And
And gives the rest of the team a good scare.
yeah, that's fantastic. And then everything settles down, and Plasmus is freed, and he's on their side. And then an unassuming Markovian farmer just shoots the poor
owner
boy.
of the field they're on.
Just shoots the poor boy through the brain,
Oh,
just straight through the brain. So another
Which is
child
very,
dead.
very visibly exposed through his meta body.
translucent body.
Yeah.
So that's another child dead. 3 episodes.
And again, Black Lightning is just
Yeah, poor
Oh,
man.
God,
He's just at the center of the child murder. It's just
I mean, like first off, he just comes across as angry and about to snap on this poor farmer, who thought he did something really good.
yeah. The farmer's
then
like,
he
"I
just-
killed the monster! I killed the monster!" You just killed a child.
Yeah, like his whole demeanor just changes mid sentence.
Yeah,
and
it just
goes sad.
it goes to cold fury almost.
Yeah.
It's just when you realize what you've done.
You'll regret it.
Oh man.
You'll have to live with it.
I'm having chills just from.
Oh, yeah.
It's really really good. Like the themes are so they're incredible.
It's very solid acting.
And the voice acting is fantastic. I did have some concerns about the art style because it's changed slightly since then. It's still the wonderful art of very talented artist Phil Barraza, but I hope that's how your name is pronounced, sir. I follow you on Twitter. You're very good. He's basically the one who has been art director for all of the DC animated movies, feature movies. But starting back from movies like let me see, Crisis on Two Earths and what was it called again? It was called the one with the contingency planes, Savage. Doom.
Doom, yeah,
Justice League
yeah.
Doom. Those movies were very much in the same style as Young Justice used to be. But starting from,
It's been a while since I've watched those.
they're so good.
They're really good.
And so starting back from Flashpoint Paradox, the art style noticeably changed. Like the people were a lot beefier, but Flashpoint Paradox was also notably graphic.
Very. Holy
Very
crap, very.
graphic. And the movies have sort of had that style ever since then. And Young Justice has sort of switched in the same style now.
But it's still very recognizable.
It is still very recognizable, but it's ever so slightly different. It's ever so slightly different. And the screenshot that I had seen were kind of like, ugh. Ugh. But as we got closer and closer, of course, more and more art was finalized. And we actually reached the point we have now. And I still see it. There's some colorations that are a little bit different. There are some, especially Dick is a little bit sometimes, but that's art evolves. I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't bother me. But I mean, it's just that it's taken this graphic route, man. So, but I think it's because as the characters have grown up,
so has the audience.
Yeah. It makes sense that those people who watched back then, if they were young adults, if they were comparably aged,
yeah, then it would make sense
then it would make sense. But one thing that's also very noticeable about Young Justice as a series, as a concept, is this way that the cast, as the cast ages, they keep introducing new cast members in the same age groups as they were before, so as not to alienate anybody. Because there was a 5-year gap between season 1 and 2.
Was it that much?
In the story, yes.
Oh, okay.
5 years. So Dick goes from being 14 to 19,
yeah,
for instance. Yeah. So he beefed up a fuck ton. But then you introduce characters like Impulse and Tim and Jaime.
Impulse, great.
Fucking love Impulse. He's Kid Flash now.
Yeah.
But that... Somebody please tell me what's going on. He is... I hope they come back to Impulse and Blue Beetle, but...
They're sure they will.
They were such big parts of the last season.
They were really big. I can't imagine them not playing a bigger part in his.
I was about to say I can definitely imagine them not being as big of a part this time around because that's just how they do. But then again, I mean, McGann was a huge part of season 1, and she was a huge part of season 2 as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes character arcs just stretch along. It really seems like we're having a lot of Nightwing this season that we didn't really get last season. Seems like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't recall all that much Nightwing from.
No, exactly. No, Nightwing was very much team leader in season 2. He wasn't in the field very much.
Yeah, no, that's true.
He's been all field so far. But yeah, so
it's been quite enjoyable too.
Some of the new characters that we've seen is obviously we have the old characters who have stepped up. Like we saw Bart become Kid Flash at the end of last season, and Tim is still there. Wonder Girl still there. But with Arsenal defecting to his own little shit, and older Roy giving up the life and everything, and Artemis being Tigress and also being independent, what's the Green Arrow to do? Why, get a new protege, of course, because that whole character arc from season 2 about him doubting his skills as a mentor, just fuck that.
He got over it.
Yeah, so we have Arrowette now. Arrowette, which I mean,
Sounds so strange.
yeah, it is kind of strange, but it's cool to see her there. And then of course we have Spoiler, who is
Who is Spoiler?
Spoiler. Spoiler. Spoiler is a pretty interesting.
God, that's dumb.
She's a pretty interesting character because in the comics, we have actually seen her before in Young Justice. She was a background character in season 2.
Oh.
She was one of the children who was abducted by the Reach.
Oh, right.
She's not a metahuman though.
No.
No, but her name is Stephanie Brown, and in the comics, she is the daughter of a Batman villain called Cluemaster.
All right, yeah. I've heard of him at the very least.
Okay, so yeah, she's just another masked Gotham vigilante in that sense. But what's noticeable about her is that she has had a lot of different identities. Stephanie, she is the only.
Well, like canonically or through different.
Canonically.
Okay.
Canonically,
Might just be like a lot of different backstories.
she started as Spoiler, obviously, and then at a point where Tim had to quit being Robin because his dad found out and all that sort of shit, she actually took over as Robin.
Oh.
So now I'm not caught up on my Batman anymore, but at the time when there were 5 canon Robins, she was the only female canon Robin.
Right.
And so she was actually also involved with Tim in the comics a lot. So her taking over as Robin was kind of a fun little moment. It's very, very short lived. And after that, she actually became the 3rd Batgirl as well.
Okay.
So and
that's something.
Yeah, that was really, really cool because if you know the 2nd Batgirl, Cassandra, she was the daughter of Richard Dragon and Lady Shiva, I do believe.
Dick Dragon.
Dick Dragon. Oh, she was a very interesting character because she was mute. Oh. And her language center in her brain was kind of fucked, so that she was super in tune with body language and stuff. So she was one of the most dangerous fighters in the world.
Oh, that's cool.
Because she had like almost precognitive abilities because she could just read from very little.
Yeah, like minute changes.
Yeah, exactly. But she couldn't speak, she couldn't read, and she couldn't write.
Oh.
And she was a very timid little girl who had been trained to kill all her entire life and nothing else. And so Batman took her under his wing.
His Batwing.
And trained her and stuff. And she was really cool. And then Barbara took her in because Bruce is a dick and not in that way. All that sort of stuff. And there was
Bruce is a dick and Dick doesn't want to be a Bruce.
Exactly.
What is this?
There was a fun little storyline where she a telepathic character rewired her brain.
Oh.
So that she was able to learn language and reading and writing, but it made her completely unable to fight.
Right.
So there was a thing where
she became normal.
Yeah, she became normal. I do believe that's where was it Lady Shiva who said, "I can train you, but I can train you in like a year or something, and then at the end of that year we have to fight to the death." It's like,
okay.
Is that a good idea? Is that what we want to do? Is that fun?
This is how we do it now.
Stephanie, who we were talking about, is a very different character. She was a very, very just lighthearted, easygoing Batgirl instead. But she had some really cool interactions with, especially Tim when he was Red Robin and he was searching for Bruce, not wanting to believe that Bruce had died back then when Dick was Batman.
Right.
And Damian was Robin.
God, there's so many Robins.
Yeah. Damian is, of course, Bruce's son.
Yeah.
Bruce's biological son with Talia al Ghul. And a big thing happened where Bruce seemed to die. He was only displaced through time. Because new god fuckery.
Yeah. Great.
So basically, everybody in the Bat family moved on. Everybody but Tim.
Mm.
So Tim was kind of shunned for not believing that Batman was dead, and so he went.
Shunned an unbeliever.
So he went on this whole big trip with this world globe-trotting trip, and he made his own. Relationship with Ra's al Ghul, for instance, and yeah, Tim is the only other character than Bruce Ra's al Ghul refers to as detective.
Damn.
Because Tim
that is pretty much Tim's thing.
Yeah, Tim is the brainy Robin.
Yeah.
Which was kind of one of the things with Young Justice was that when it first came out, Dick had a lot of the things that you would normally associate with Tim.
Yeah.
One of the things was there was no green in the uniform, in the Robin uniform. There's only red and black, which is something that and yellow that Tim took up after Connor died in the comics. Tim and Connor were best friends in the comics.
Right, yeah.
In the new Teen Titans. They were best friends. Connor, Superboy. So Superboy dies. Tim, major depression. Changes his whole outfit to only black and red and yellow. And yeah, that was the whole thing. And then Bruce dies and then his
can't catch a break.
Then his dad dies. And maybe in different order, but it was
oh man.
Yeah, Tim's dad and Connor were around the same time. And then Cassie died, and then everything was just terrible. Basically, there's a lot of history to these characters.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, there's a lot of history here, and it's fun to see, because one of the things also that was kind of curious about Young Justice back when it started was kind of that it looked more like Teen Titans with the lineup.
Yeah.
So you had Robin and Kid Flash and Aqualad. Those are like 3 founding members of the Teen Titans. But then you had Young Justice member Superboy and much later Teen Titan member Miss Martian. And from the blue, original character Artemis. It's just weird shit going on, but so fucking compelling.
So good, yeah, definitely.
So the question really is just, where do we go from here? Where does Young Justice go?
Oh.
With these storylines that we've weaved up now. Because as I started off this podcast by saying, the creators of this show are fiercely smart. Greg Weisman, you devious motherfucker, you. Greg Weisman was also the showrunner on the Spectacular Spider-Man, which is
interesting.
Best Spider-Man show out there, which is, yeah, I just had to tie in the background footage of this podcast. In case you were wondering.
I mean, the shit they pulled on us in both season 1 and 2, it just, I won't say it came out of nowhere, but everything just pretty much caught me by surprise.
Yeah, they're very difficult to see where things are going.
Very.
Very difficult. And I think that's a very compelling thing. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's just ass pulls. It's just every time the heroes win, the light just go, according to plan.
Yeah, but then you have things like Aqualad's defection to the light. And it was so genuine and believable. And I was like, what?
And then because they did the whole thing with off-screen with Tula.
Yeah.
Aquagirl died.
Like that was motive for it.
That was motive, and that's what they used. We believed it as much as the characters did.
Yeah.
Which is what's fucking great. And then there was that whole game-changing moment where McGann mind-raped Calder.
Yeah.
That was a whole thing where we had just found out that not just, it was a couple episodes ago, we knew. Because that's after they had sent Artemis to back him up undercover. But basically, so McGann shows up and just...
Yeah, that's also the whole point that they faked Artemis' death.
Just scramble his fuck... Yeah, that's another major breach of trust.
Yeah, again, why McGann was so furious.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically. That was the main part to why... But that was also McGann's character arc right then and there. She was really reckless with her powers.
Very, yeah.
Just... Wherever I go, I must mind rape.
It's no alternative.
Murder is no alternative to rape. You know this. No, it's hard to see where this is going. But one thing that's definitely in the cards is that they have to somehow, the heroes have to somehow learn that Apocalypse is staging all of this.
Yes.
Because right now they do not know that that the metahumans are being shipped from Earth to out in the cosmos. But Black Lightning has been there on both sides now.
And he'll be able to fill in some blanks.
He's seen the metahumans. They knew that Count Vertigo shipped off the children via boom tube, and they employed they employed Apocalyptian tech. The thing that they do not seem to know is that the Light is very closely affiliated with Apocalypse right now. Right now, Dick especially is only thinking in Earth politics.
Yes.
They're thinking that Count Vertigo is doing all of these things to cement his rule over Vladova. Which,
I mean, but they also know his affiliation with the Light. So they may likely suspect, a bigger picture. But yeah, as you said, they don't actually know the affiliation with Apocalypse or Darkseid.
No, and it's also interesting to see how the fuck they're even gonna bring in Darkseid.
That's going to be very interesting, yeah.
What are they gonna do?
How? What are they gonna do? No, that'll be...
They're gonna invest Darkseid's fortune into BitConnect. It's the only way to defeat him.
It's Boom Connect.
Boom Connect!
Oh,
look at the waveform.
You can just see it spiking.
So definitely that's gonna happen. What's gonna happen with Batman and the Outsiders, though, is very interesting to see.
That's very much up in the air.
They are gonna introduce Metamorpho as well. I've seen art of him.
Mm? Okay.
Fucking love me some Metamorpho. Metamorpho is so cool and very underutilized. Very cool. Thank you, Kanye. And with that being said, I think we'll just see you next week when we
watch some more.
We watch 3 more episodes and
watch some more kids die.
I suppose.
I mean, God, it's
crazy. And then we're gonna come back here and we're gonna talk some more about it and see where we go from there. And thank you so much for listening to this. Please let us know what you thought down in the comments below.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to hear.
Ask questions that we can use to fill out the time on the next podcast, and hopefully we'll have some good stuff ready for you.
When next we engage in some light banter.
Light banter over the wholesale slaughter of children.
And resurrection thereof.
Oh, great. Great. I love that shit.
Exposed skulls and...
and exposed brains and exposed child hearts. and there was this one scene where Black Lightning jumped out of a sewer pipe and he just fucking cracked his spine on a rock in the water below, and it was just
Oh, it's gotta sting.
The show is graphic now.
It's very I very much love that, actually.
Yeah, it really just cements some I won't say credibility, but it makes shit real. Like you're not pulling punches for the sake of it being a kids show, for instance. They are murdering children just so kids out there can know that they can be murdered at any point in time, that death comes for us all eventually, that there is no escape based on age alone.
But don't worry. If you see anything, just scream. That's the whole little thing.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.